Well, this is the grid for race 2. Mark Larkham on pole, the comeback man. Garth Tander alongside him. Stephen Richards and Craig Lowndes on row 2. Don't forget they reversed the top 6 here. And Mark Scaife and Paul Radisich, our race 1 winner, as you can see, will start from position 6.
Stephen Ellery and Glenn Seaton behind that inverted grid. Greg Murphy and Tony Longhurst. If you look down the right-hand side of your screen, that shows where the cars qualified. And of course, their grid positions are determined by the results from race 1. So you can see how they're going throughout the day. Cameron McLean qualified 22nd, got his way up to 17th, all the way down to Trevor Ashby in 24th position.
Further back there, Todd Kelly, you can see after that altercation with John Bowe, who is actually at the very back of the grid. With this one, there was quite a lengthy stewards hearing post race 1, and they have decided after that contact that Bowe was to be penalised, and he will start from the rear.
Incidentally, that was a differential on Radisic's car that disintegrated.
They have replaced that in between race 1 and race 2.
And look at that car sitting in behind row 4 there, the Super Cheap Autos car. Stephen Ellery is very happy today. The car's performing very well. Looking for a good result here this afternoon. Look at that front row of the grid. Mark Larkham really has been the man in the spotlight at the moment. There's the green light. We're ready for the start.
Set to go for the reverse grid second race, round 10 of the Shell Championship Series. Will it be Tander? Will it be Larkham? Listen to the revs of the big V8 supercars. Flames out the side of Tander's car. Tander takes off. In race 2, he is away. A good start also by Stephen Richards. He's like a lightning bolt. Larkham will shut the door on him as they head towards turn 1 and makes it tough for Richards. Larkham leads the way. Richards has snuck up into second. Tander's hanging out wide, late under brakes from GT.
That's a big move from Tander. It's going to get stuck right out there. Oh, it just about got through.
Paul Wheel going right out in the dust as he gets the power down, coming out of turn 1. Everyone leaning on each other. A very narrow strip of bitumen through here as they head up over the rise for the first time. Looks like a relatively clean start, but Mark Larkham finished 6th in heat 1. He gets pole position for heat 2, and he's using it to good advantage here as they thunder down the back straight for the first time.
Russell. I was just going to say, Engels enjoying himself way back there.
Great start by Stephen Richards in the Kmart Commodore. He leapt off that second row, forced his way up the inside. Now he finds himself in second position. He's got Garth Tander in third. The 2 Holden Racing Team Commodores running bumper to bumper. Then the Shell Ford of Paul Radisich.
Marvellous start by Mark Larkham. He leads the way. One of the Optus Commodores off to the side of the road there. I think that was Trevor Ashby's car.
260 k's on the approach to turn 1. Hard under brakes as they come over the bumps here. Look at Richards. Has a look up the inside of the Mitre 10 Ford as we go on board with Mark Larkham. And you can feel the heat from that Kmart car as he gets right up behind the Ford coming out of turn 1. Mitre 10 in-car camera taking him for a ride. Little lock brake there by Richards as the car gets unloaded that way. And the Holden Racing Team duo locked in behind.
Good battle going on just in behind this group between Greg Murphy and Stephen Ellery. Murphy in 8th, Ellery in 9th. There they are. They flash past us now. Look at Larkham. He's cleared out of there. Tander all over the back of Stephen Richards in the Kmart Commodore. And what a wonderful return to racing this has been for the whole Mitre 10 team. You jump aboard. Our Mitre 10 onboard camera takes you right in and shows you Mark Larkham at work. He is actually wearing, folks, he's actually wearing a motocross-style kidney belt. He's wearing it backwards, so that when they strap down those harnesses, his hurt ribs won't feel so much pain as he's racing here today after that big accident at Oran Park.
No shortage of top-end power. Mark Larkham stretches the legs of the big Ford V8. Now he hard under brakes over the bumps. A little lock brake on the outside.
Look at Tander. Oh, did you hear
Richards.
that?
Yeah, big tyre squeal. Usually hold our breath when that happens. We think someone spun, but Larkham now has opened up 2-3.
Tander's struggling to get past Stephen Richards. He really needs to get past there because it looks like he's getting held up.
2-3, even 4 car lengths over his pursuers. Larkham, fastest man on the track, 57.55. I said they'd lap in the mid to low 57s. Well, they're delivering that here. This battle of 3 Commodores, 4 Commodores now in a Falcon sandwich.
Unless you get unless you get a really good run onto the straight here, Martin, there's not really a lot of places to pass, is there? Basically, the end of the straight is just about the only one.
That corner coming onto the main straight is critical. Because if you get a good run on a car in front of you, even 2 or 3 metres faster, you can carry that extra speed all the way down. On board with Craig Lowndes, sitting in behind Garth Tander as they thunder down the main straight. Hard on the brakes, really hard on the brakes this place. As they brake from 260 kilometres an hour. It's a very slow corner.
What's going on here? That's
Rodney Forbes.
Yeah, there was a touch somebody there.
Smoke belching from the front right wheel. John Bowe sneaks up the inside as he continues his fight through from the back of the grid.
Talking of those people fighting through, Bowers moved up to 27th position from the rear, and Russell Ingall from 33rd to position 24. So those guys really starting to carve up through the field. Larkham, not surprisingly either, is the fastest man on the circuit, a 57.04 in the Mitre 10 Ford. And gee, it looks, this is a brand new car. Don't lose sight of that. Untried, virtually, and untested. They had a very brief session on the lead up to this race. They just managed to get a test day in, and boy oh boy, hasn't it been such an amazing debut.
Trouble there for Mick Donoghue, a little bit further back in the pack. But Mark Larkham is knocking on the door of a sub 50-second lap here. He's done a 57.14. He just lost a tenth of a second that time around. But he is doing very, very fast, consistent laps. We got dramas. Rodney Forbes involved again. We just saw smoke puffing from his front wheel a few laps ago. He's been involved with a tangle with the Toll Express car. So Anthony Tratt gets back into the action, but this is outstanding performance by the Mitre 10 Ford. Here's the battle for fastest lap. Stephen Richards has dug a little deeper. 57.01. Very close to that sub 57-second lap.
Oh, look at Craig Baird.
Mick Donoghue, the loser of that argument.
That's how he ended up on the grass a little earlier on.
A little help from the rear.
Outstanding performance this from the Mitre 10 Ford team. Mark Larkham, the 36-year-old, originally from Sydney, now resides on the Gold Coast with his own Mitre 10 team operation up there.
Yeah, Richards is really on it now, and he's going. He seems going a lot quicker than he was.
They're certainly getting some more speed out of these cars. Their race speed always hasn't been that bad, but their qualifying speed has been so poor that you never really get to see them strutting their stuff with the leaders. And it was only really in the endurance races, and they had a chance to run at the front. Here's Rodney Forbes trying to claw his way back onto the track. So he's really been in the wars, young Rodney.
Talk there about
Oh, Paul Morris.
Squeeze up the inside of the big Kev car. Oh, that was...
that was...
No one.
Now, these two, don't forget, are teaming up for the upcoming endurance races. So in the Wins Commodore.
Wow, hey.
Tratty was trying to follow him through. Got the door shut, paid the penalty.
You talked about Stephen Richards there before, Mark, and just how...
Oh, Brad Jones.
Damaged front left suspension on the Aussie Mail Ford.
Keep your radio on. I'll have a look at it and I'll report back. Keep your radios on.
So Brad just talking to his brother Kim, the team manager, telling him to give him a report on just the level of damage on the Aussie Mail Falcon. Looks like Brad's okay. Oh, damage here.
Damn,
Glenn Seaton.
Okay, run it straight here to the garage and we'll get onto it.
Well, they said these new Ford spoilers were indestructible. Well, it hasn't broken the spoiler, but the actual spoiler's broken away from the car.
You have to say it looks quite funny, doesn't it, really?
Sitting out there.
Word we hear from the pits is there may have been some sort of contact between Greg Murphy and Glenn Seaton there, the catalyst for Seaton losing the new Tiga front bumper. He heads to the pits in between time. Larkham, who is really trying in the Mitre 10 Ford, continues to muscle the car around.
He's pushing hard. He's done a 57.11, so he's still hovering around that low 57-second bracket. We go on board with Mark Larkham, a study of concentration from that camera, staring right into his face through the visor of his helmet as he hammers down the main straight once again. Hard under brakes at the end. There's the colour scan Falcon of Rick Bates, brother of 3-time Australian Rally champion Neil.
Rod Nash there as well has had an excursion. There's some damage to that car, the Auto Pro Commodore. This is the brand new car. It may look like the one Cameron McConville was campaigning for a while, but McConville in the Repco car has had a repaint. That's a brand new car for Rod Nash. Larkham continues to lead. Don't forget, Mark Larkham has actually never won a race in the Shell Championship Series. His best ever result is a third in championship racing terms. He has, of course, dominated the support races to Indy a couple of years ago there.
Fastest man on the track at the moment is Paul Radicic. He's back in 6th. He's just done a 57 dead, a 57.00 for the Shell Ford. It just goes to show when you get caught back in the pack here, some of these cars are lapping faster than our race leader. Oh! That's how he ended up.
That was a bit ambitious, I think, wasn't it?
Ever so slightly. If he'd have done it, we'd have called him Houdini, actually.
Oh, Todd Kelly. He's already in trouble with John Bowe in race 1. Trouble continues for the Holden Young Lions driver in race 2. This is the battle for the front. It's currently Larkham. 1.3 seconds the gap over Stephen Richards and the Kmart Commodore. Then it's Garth Tander, Lowndes, Scaife, Radicic in there too.
It shows what you were saying, Mark, to Oren about the qualifying thing, how important it is. If you look now, Radicic I mean, he's back there, and it doesn't look like he's got a hope in hell's chance of getting past.
Talk about people climbing them. Oh, Dougal McDougall, that's a big one there. Yeah. Now, what's happened? That looks like something's let go.
Yeah, it does.
I thought it may have been from the spin to begin with. No, he's continuing. So, well, obviously...
Oh, I think he probably was trying to light it up. Oh, dear, another
now that's Cameron McLean's car. Now, he is actually running the old style front bumper this weekend. Those of you following the progress of Russell Ingall from the back of the grid, he has moved inside the top 20 in the Castrol Commodore. In fact, now up to 17th, so that's a stalling drive from 33rd.
Yeah, this is why there has been so much criticism of the old established 20-minute sprint race format. There's Cameron out of the car. This is the problem you see. It's just so much a qualifying battle. You know, wherever you start, wherever you leap into that first corner, particularly on a track like Calder, it's pretty much where you stay for the rest of the day. When you get a longer race and you can mix in pit stops, tyre changes, safety cars, all sorts of strategy, you start to get a bit of variety.
Cameron McLean, who we saw on the side of the road there, will be teaming up with Paul Radisich in the upcoming Queensland 500. And Dick Johnson making a one-off return for that event as well. If you haven't heard, he will be teaming up with Stephen for that one. He's not coming out of retirement. It's just a one-off. Jason Bright is in the States and campaigning in Indy Lights and can't come back for that race. So Dick is coming out of retirement for a one-off.
Another replay. So this is how Cameron came to grief. There goes his front spoiler.
Oh, what happened there?
And all sorts of elbowing going on back in the pack. Todd Kelly's been in the thick of it. Let's have a look at another one.
Oh, that's where
up, isn't he? Well, there's lots of incidents happening here at Calder Park right now. Mark Larkham leads the way. Could he be on course for his first ever race victory in the Shell Championship Series? We will find out on the other side of this. At the moment, he's top of the table from Richards, Garth Tander, Craig Lowndes there in 4th position, championship leader Mark Skaife in 5th, and our race 1 winner, Paul Radisich, is in 6th position. Stephen Ellery doing a fine job there in the Super Cheap Autos Falcon as well, in 7th place, just ahead of Tony Longhurst. We go further back. Murphy has made his way up to 9th, Neil Crompton in 10th, and there's still lots more coming your way. Find out if Larkham can do it on the other side of this. Nice to have you with us wherever you're watching right around Australia through Network 10, or for our Kiwi viewers watching through TV1 in New Zealand. This is round 10 of the Shell Championship Series, coming to you from Calder Park Raceway to the northwest of Melbourne in Victoria. And at the moment, Mark Larkham is showing the way, and what a fantastic performance this has been. He's yet to win a race, as we mentioned, in the Shell Championship Series. This is a brand new car. The highs and lows of motorsport. I know he's not there yet, but let's certainly hope he can do it. The Mitre 10 team thoroughly deserve this if they can pull it off, Mark.
Yeah, it's been a long, long wait, hasn't it? Came into the championship back in 1995, and it really has been a struggle. This is his 60th championship or Shell Championship start. He's had 1 pole position. That was, of course, that phenomenal lap at Bathurst last year. He's been on the podium once as well. That was a tremendous effort. But this is his first Shell race win that he's staring down the barrel of right now. He's been maintaining the gap over Stephen Richards. 1.25 seconds that last time around, so it's been hovering around 1.2, 1.3 seconds. His lap time's very consistent.
Oh, look at that.
And Stephen Richards has not been able to answer that. He's just 2/100ths of a second slower that time around, but he cannot close the gap to the Mitre 10 Ford at this stage.
You'd have to say that absolutely no one would begrudge Larkham a win, would they? Because I think he's done a fantastic job. When you think for Mitre 10, he's never won one, but he's got an awful lot of publicity, hasn't he?
Very likeable guy too, works very, very hard, has had a lengthy association with Mitre 10. It dates back to his days in Formula Holden, and it'd be great to see him do it. Garth Tander there, sitting in 3rd position at the moment in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Gee, they come good on race day, those cars, don't they? They have some dramas sometimes in practice, but the boys work very hard, and it's now showing. And Garth, of course, look at this, as Craig Lowndes dives to the inside. He can't do it there. Keep in mind, too, with Glenn Seaton out of this one, and the gap between Seaton and Tander in the championship between 2nd and 3rd is pretty tight.
It's only 37 points.
John!
Hopefully he doesn't hit anything. He's got a wall right across the grass.
Oh, dear me.
Wow. Well, we hear from the pits there was contact with another car. We'll confirm that a bit later on. Faulkner manages to keep it going, but what a wild ride. That would have been his speed around 240, 250 Ks.
Yeah, he went on Commodore, totally offline there, wasn't it? Boy, oh boy.
Hairy stuff.
But he wondered where he was going, because when you're going that quick on the grass in all the different directions he was going, it's worrying to say the least. I think he's got some front left is punctured by the looks of it quite badly. Yeah.
Well, he's lucky he got away with that. That thing could have ricocheted off in any direction, hit a concrete wall or anything. So he's lucky if he can limp that back to the pits with the amount of damage that the car's got. Let's have a look at that on the replay, Bates.
Well, it's some... I wonder why that was. Maybe someone touched him. Can't really see. I couldn't see who was behind him, so I don't know.
I understand John claims that Larry Perkins may have touched him. It's difficult to tell from that shot, though.
Yeah, you couldn't see.
Just managed to get it into first gear and drive it out of that kitty litter before he got bogged. So there he is, limping his way back to the pits. Damage to the front left-hand corner of the car. So that flat tyre there. So John will try and limp that back to the pits. That's a great shame for the Asia Online team. John forked it particularly early in qualifying, early in practice for this weekend's race. He was very fast on old tyres. Once they get the new tyres on the car, he just doesn't find that new tyre gain that he needs. 5 to go for Mark Larkham. We're sort of crossing all our fingers here up here in the commentary box for him. He's so close, isn't he? 5 to go in this one. Currently 13th in the Shell Championship point standing. 503 points he's earned this year. So that great drive at the Queensland Sprint Round at Queensland Raceway, where he stood on the podium for the first time. And we're on board with Larkham. Mitre 10 in-car camera takes you for a ride, and you can see back there, headlights ablaze, Stephen Richards. 1.1 seconds behind now. It's just hovering around that just over a second gap. Stephen Richards was slower that time around, but he's maintaining this position. 1.1 seconds. Let's watch it again. Larkham, though, is aware. His Kmart car looming in the background. He's only going to make the slightest error, and Richards will pounce. While
we're watching Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford Racing entry, continuing his way around Calder Park. 4 to go in this one. Should point out to the Ford fans as well, get the paint out, because we understand from Ford management that the Ford banner competition will be back on again at the FAI 1000 at Bathurst. We don't know the details yet in terms of prizes, etc., but there's a lot of talk about this, so stay tuned, folks. The Ford banner competition back on at Bathurst.
Gee, it's great to see the Kmart Commodores doing so well in a sprint format situation. They really have struggled since the team was launched last year. And because of that bad qualifying form, they always found themselves battling in that no man's land between 10th and 20th. But now, with some decent qualifying speed, the Kmart Holdens are looking strong. Paul Raditz has just not been able to do anything about this Commodore trio up ahead of him. And as you say before, Greg, this is looking good for Garth Tander with Glenn Seaton further down the order today.
Just bear in mind, lots of motor racing right here on Network 10 trackside next Sunday between 3 and 5. All the action from GTP, Nations Cup and Formula Ford here from Calder Park. And don't forget, we then move to the first of the big Enduros, the Queensland 500, round 11 of the Shell Championship Series on the 10th of September, midday to 5. But as always, check your local guides.
Stephen Richards is continuing to close the gap. He's just dropped it under 1 second that time around. 0.9 of a second now behind the Mitre 10 Ford. Can the Kmart Commodore close the gap before this one's over? Time running out for Mark Larkham. We're on board with Craig Lowndes, the Walker in-car camera.
I was laughing there. You could hear the old rev limiter working overtime there.
Well, Mark spoke earlier in the telecast about how important it is here to get power down grip at this circuit at the rear end, and as he came out of the SS, didn't he get a boot full of it?
I'll tell you what, this battle for the lead's getting closer now. It's down to 0.6 of a second. Richards is closing all the time on Mark Larkham at the front of the pack. Just up ahead of this battle, Mark Larkham, 58.19. He's dropped into the 8s that time around, a 57.8 for Stephen Richards. And there it is. He's just starting to claw closer to this Ford all the time. Headlights on for both cars as they pick their way through the traffic. 2.3 kilometres remaining. Final lap for Mark Larkham. Can he take his first Shell Series race win?
I was going to say, with what's at stake, I don't think, you know, it's one thing if Steve catches him up, it's another thing to get past him. I think he's got the whole thing under control.
We've just been doing our sums up here too, considering those first two heats. When you're determining the top 6 positions on aggregate, Richards is now on pole position for the start of Heat 3, so he's having a very strong day at Calder.
Playing the same approach that he took to the GMC 400 in Canberra, where he won that round. Strong showing there from the Kmart racing team. So Richards looking good, and at the moment, Ford fans around the country would be rejoicing. Mark Larkham.
I mean, his heart rate went up then.
I was waiting for him to head off across the sea. I thought he'd gone in too deep.
Keep it together, keep it together. You've got one corner to go. Mark Larkham, the Queenslander, in the Mitre 10 Ford, is on course to give Ford their 5th victory of the season, his first ever in the Shell Championship Series. In the case of the space of 3 weeks, he goes from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs.
On that last lap, Les down the back there. Missed everything by about 15 feet and ended up in the shed.
He would have been if he'd have lost it, wouldn't he?
He knows what he's done. Telling the boys the story. He knows how close that was.
A marvellous performance from Larkham. Thoroughly deserving of that victory. His first ever race win in the Shell Championship Series. He's had those bursts of brilliance, hasn't he, where he's taken pole last year for the FAI 1000, and he's won those support races in years gone by at the Honda Indy 300, but thoroughly deserving of it. Well done, Mark, and well done to all the Mitre 10 team.
Oh, look at this locker. I would have loved to have seen the inside camera on his eyes when he did the lock-up thing here. Can you imagine? His eyes been hanging out on springs.
Oh, can you believe that?
Oh, dear. He would have never forgiven himself.
Not at all. And as we said, in the space of 3 weeks, this team has gone from the lowest of lows, Mark Larkham included, to the highest of highs. A brand new car. They have built this from a bare race shell 3 weeks ago after that shocking crash involving he and Paul Morris. And there they are.
Didn't say a word.
Adam Perry there, team boss, team manager, I should say. Marvellous performance for the Mitre 10 racing team. Mark Larkham does it. He breaks the drought and takes his first ever victory. Stephen Richards, a well-deserved and very close 2nd place. Garth Tander 3rd. Craig Lowndes, the defending Shell Series champion, in 4th. Paul Radisich in 6th. Stephen Ellery 7th. And Tony Longhurst completes the top 8. We go further back through the field. Murphy, Crompton, Bargwana, Larry Perkins and Russell there, getting all the way up to 13th. A sensational performance from the enforcer. The crowd here at Calder Park Raceway enjoying a great day's racing, particularly if they're Ford fans. The first time since 1998 that Ford have won 2 races within a round. And in fact, it's the first time since Lakeside in 1997 that 2 different Ford teams have each won races within a round. A couple of shakers and movers there for you. Russell Ingall from 33rd up to 13th. John Bauer from last to 15th. And of course, Todd Kelly from 28th to 18th. Let's go to Mark Osler.
Well, looks like a bit of a Ford fight back happening at Calder Park this afternoon. Victory to Paul Radisich in Heat 1, Mitre 10 win in Heat 2. That's your first Shell Series race win. What a feeling.
Yeah, it's great, mate. I mean, I'm not a big advocate of swapping the top 6 around, but I guess I'll cop that one because you know, I think we didn't do a bad job as a team there. I mean, can I just take this opportunity? My team, I mean, we're really lucky to be here, Mark. They worked tirelessly for 3 weeks, and to come here and win a race, I mean, it's the guys, mate. I sat at home in bed watching videos. As I said, they've done a fantastic job.
I'll tell you, our hearts are in our mouths when you came up to that last corner there. Boy, how close was that?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a rear nip up there and missed it big time, but no, we got it home. That was all right.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you.